Morning, everybody. This is Mike Johnsrud from PCI Midwest, and I'd like to welcome you to this morning's podcast. On our podcast this morning, we have Tom Kelley from Gage Brothers and Dave Van Nieuwenhuyzen from JLG Architects. Tom, would you go ahead and give us a little introduction of yourself, and then let Dave do the same?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, Tom Kelley. I'm president of Gage Brothers here. I have been for about the last 20 years. Been at Gage Brothers for 39 years. Served several roles from engineering, project management, estimating, and moved my way up through the company. So we've had nice growth and a lot of fun along the way. And Dave has been part of the journey for about the last half of my journey. So I'll let Dave go ahead and introduce himself.
Thanks, Tom. Dave Van Nieuwenhuyzen with JLG Architects. I'm a principal architect and market leader here for our Sioux Falls office. We're a regional architecture firm with 13 offices across North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota. And I've been with JLG for about 3 years, a little over 3 years, and started the Sioux Falls office here. And like Tom says, we've been around each other for almost 20 years and working on projects together. Some pretty significant work in and around the region, and it's just a pleasure to work with them architecturally because they understand us and we understand their product pretty well. So,
yeah, Dave. You know, when we first started, one of the first projects Dave worked with us on was actually a renovation in addition to our core floor operation back in 2000 or thereabouts, and so he started real early in his career learning about what we were about and learning about precast. And when we take on a big project like we did here with a whole new facility from a clean sheet of paper, having the 15 years of background in understanding our product, but more importantly, understanding us and how we work and how we think, really set the table nicely. It was an obvious choice to have somebody like Dave and JLG in this partnership in this program, because it just made it a lot more seamless.
Tom, I hear you talk about this. I hear you talk about this new plant. I think that's a pretty interesting thing, and I think talking about that would really be well to listen to from our membership.
Yeah, well, the journey on that new plant has probably started 6-7 years ago. I had the opportunity to serve as a national chair of our PCI, our trade association institute, and had the opportunity to travel around and see many plants in the United States, but also around the world. And I started seeing that there was a lot better ways, a lot more efficient ways to do the things that we do here in making precast. So we started assembling and accumulating the best of the best and put those pieces together. And, some of our team traveled to some of these places to look at it with us. And the idea was we needed to make it was twofold, one for our clients and one for our personnel. But for all of our team players at Gage Brothers, it was to find a cleaner, safer, lighter, more inviting environment so that we could recruit, retain our team members. And from a standpoint of competitiveness, from the standpoint of our client, we were out of capacity. We had about 5 years, we're just constantly out of capacity. So we needed to grow. So from our client standpoint, we needed to grow, but we needed to improve our quality, and we needed to improve our offering, but also improve our efficiency. And that was a big thing with this technology and automation that we embraced and brought from 7 different countries around the world was the automation piece, so that our unit cost labor could be decreased substantially, and that unit cost labor decrease would be the vehicle by which we could handle the debt of a new plant. And I think we're moved over here. About half of our production is here. About half of our production is over at our old plant. But the transition has been exciting and challenging. At the same time, I never thought that we would encompass all the things we've encompassed. But people that are smarter than me have told me it takes take 6 months or a year to get stabilized in a new facility like this, and that's what it's taken. So I think we're rounding third base. We're not quite home.
And Tom, with your new plant, was Dave and JLG able to help you with that to understand your vision, where you wanted to take the company?
Yeah, and I can let Dave talk about that a little bit, but yes, because of the standpoint of we had to incorporate all the needs of, companies from Dubai, Denmark, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Finland. And we had to be able to build what they needed and supply the electric needs, supply all the mechanical needs, and just supply the space and everything that goes with that to integrate all these things together. So we had to collect all that and get it all on a plan, and I think it was unbelievably successful. We had absolutely no rework. Everything that came over here fit like it was supposed to fit. So I can have Dave, I'd like to start, get your perspective on how the process worked and went.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, having a clean slate and being able to start fresh was something that was one of the great benefits of the design of the new plant. And so we could bring forth some of the past history of Gage Brothers, the unique products that they produce versus some of their competitors, and celebrate that in some of the design and the exterior aesthetic of the plant and the office. But we really started looking at this thing from a macro level, from a site design level, and how material is brought to the site from a raw material standpoint, how that enters the building, how it's handled throughout the process, making sure that the process of efficiency was first and foremost in how the design related to how they make their product. And of course, there's other things like safety and environmental air quality control and daylighting that we had the ability to kind of push the envelope in this new facility versus working on some of their old facilities where it was more challenging. And so in this facility, we harvest daylight and use that through skylights. There's a lot of times when the artificial lighting isn't even used in the plant, which is a dramatic change from where they were in their old facility. The indoor air quality is much improved, mostly because there isn't really any vehicles inside the building. And so we have the ability to keep it clean and keep it safer for the employees. And that starts with air quality and daylighting. The equipment itself, of course, was a challenge to integrate into the design of the building, but collectively we did a great job of understanding how that incorporated into the design and making sure that from start to finish really was kind of at the center of what we did for the efficiency of the design. And then, of course, at the far end of the building, when finished product is done, it goes through either the finishing process or just directly outside to a yard where it's stored, and then it's shipped off site. And so if I go back and talk about this macro level, it was really bringing raw material in, going through the process of creating the material that they produce, and then how that ultimately gets shipped off site. And so the efficiency of the site, the efficiency of the building, the efficiency of the equipment and the environment was really at the forefront of what we did. And I'm really proud about how we celebrated that through some of the design of the building, some of the unique abilities that they only have, and we celebrated that through the design of their office as well. And it's fun to see this come together. It really is.
And I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty interesting to know, Dave, that you just mentioned that the plant and the office are two separate buildings on the same site, but they're two separate buildings. Was there a difference in thought about what you wanted to do with each one of those? They probably each had their own idiosyncrasies that you tried to, I don't know, match, follow, or to design around.
Well, I think the plant being, the first thing that we thought of, we really wanted to use product that was efficient. So we tried to use wall panels that, were something that could be repetition. It's a big building. It's 210,000 square feet. So you want to make it as efficient as you can. The product that use and how we use that material. But yet you don't want it to look like a massive structure that's all the same. So we had a little fun with some reveals in the precast and some color changes on the building. And I think if you come to the site, of course you're greeted by the office, which is it looks like a state-of-the-art 21st century office. But the plant itself looks like a 21st century facility, and I think that will be something that's celebrated for a long time. It's really going to stand the test of time.
Yeah, we did some fun things. We did a floating stairway and incorporated some our trust, that ER post trust in our office, and had some fun with our office. We kept the plant pretty utilitarian, if you will, and celebrated just what the natural thing that concrete is. It's kind of neat. Craig, one of the folks from JLG that worked on this job, he really appreciates the simplicity of just plain concrete. We actually didn't finish the panels in the plant portion of the project, and that was very deliberate and a big part of his vision, and we kind of wondered about that for a while and stuff, but we trusted the process and trusted JLG. And one thing too, when you talk about architecture firms and things, we really enjoy working with a firm that will, like I said before, they understand us, but they also will stretch us a little bit, challenge us to do something that maybe we didn't do before, or maybe is a little bit out there. I like that. We like to be challenged. It doesn't always come out fully like we anticipated, but we all learn something and have some fun with it, and that's the other important part of this whole process. This is, as everyone knows, this construction industry is a stressful and probably one of the most collaborative things that get done in any business is construction. It's a very major collaborative effort, and oftentimes we forget about, but we need to have some fun along the way, and we truly did that here. We had some fun with the process, and we needed to do that. It makes life much more enjoyable. So.
I think from the design standpoint, having a client that you usually work with from a material supplier standpoint, and now they're your client and they're going through the design process with you, that was kind of a unique process for us as well. And being able to guide them and help them along the way and help them make decisions that truly impact the daily lives of not only the people that come to the building every day, but also visitors and people that want to understand how the product is made. We had a group out here yesterday, one of our clients, to tour and approve some precast samples, and that took all of about 5 minutes, and then they wanted to stick around for nearly an hour and just see how things were being produced inside the building. And it was kind of fun to see that big smile on their face about just understanding how things are done here at Gage Brothers and how product is made. And eventually, it makes its way out onto the site and impacts their built environment. But it's cool to see people their mind is boggled about how concrete product is made in a facility like this. And that's fun from a design standpoint.
Yeah, a couple things have stood out to me here. I hear the word collaborative. I thought something you just said, Dave, a minute ago about the client/customer relationship that you and Gage have had and especially with this one. Also brings me back to think in my mind that I'm certain that JLG and Gage Brothers have done several other high-profile projects together in and around this region. Tom and Dave, can you give any kind of little, maybe, I don't know, name some of the projects that maybe you've worked on together, and then maybe in the future here we could talk about some of those maybe in depth. But if you'd like to go over some of those projects that you've done in the together as companies when you talk about this, that'd be great.
I think some of the projects that are currently on the boards are either in construction and will be new buildings soon are pretty exciting things, and it's that collaborative effort that is truly cool. Just to highlight a few projects currently, we're working on the Minnehaha County Jail expansion, roughly about a $45 million project. We're working on the USD Dakota Dome, a large improvement to that old facility, and it's a lot of structural product from Gage Brothers. Really a cool $26 million renovation project down at Vermilion. We're working with Gage Brothers on the Village on the River project, which will have a huge impact on downtown Sioux Falls. It'll be the tallest building in South Dakota when it's complete, and it's all clad in architectural precast, and we're pushing the envelope there a little bit on finishes and trying to do something unique, and Gage Brothers really stepped up there and helped us kind of achieve that goal. Maybe some others, Dakota State University, we're doing the Mad Labs project up there. Some really unique precast on that building from a standpoint of the binary code is cast into the precast panels, and it not only tells a story about Dakota State University and the computer program, the cybersecurity program that they have, but it also is a great testament to, the durability and longevity of the product and how it ties into their campus. And we submitted for an award on the Brookings Fire Station up in Brookings, South Dakota, and I firmly believe that that will win an award someday soon. And in the past, some other notable projects, maybe the Sanford Fieldhouse and the Sanford Pentagon out at the Sanford Sports Complex. And we're currently working on the golf project out there, Great Shots, and that has some architectural precast on it as well. So some really exciting things that'll have an impact on our community and our region. And it's a collaborative effort. It really is, between the design and the vendor. So,
well, Tom, it certainly sounds like Gage Brothers and JLG have worked well together in the past. Sounds like the relationship is going to continue here into the future. And as we come close to wrapping this up, is there a few words that you'd like to say, Tom, about in closing before we get away from this? And just as I mentioned previously, one of the things I think would be interesting, these projects that Dave just listed about the county jail, the Dakota Dome, Village on the River, I think it'd be fantastic if we were able to do something like this and highlight those in the future. But Tom, I'll let you go ahead, and you and David, if you'd like to wrap this up, that'd be great.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I think there's some opportunities to talk about some other things more specifically, because JLG has stretched us, and we've looked at some new finishes. The Mad Lab and the Village on the River both have a new finish that we've developed together, and that's kind of exciting to talk about. But even our whole way that we did finishes from an environmental standpoint at our new plant is pretty unique, because we no longer use some silica products to sandblast with, and we no longer use acid to do fine finishes. We have kind of reinvented both of those processes, and I think that's pretty exciting. So we have jumped over all the regulations environmentally. We just were proactive and said we're not going to worry about trying to meet them. We're just going to jump right over the top and jump ahead 10 years. And so when those things come down the line, we'll already be ahead of the curve. And I think that's a whole nother topic of discussion as well. But no, I just, like I said, I just enjoy what's going on in Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls is a dynamite place, and we're growing like crazy here. And there's a lot more fun building projects coming. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and from our standpoint, JLG really appreciates the relationship that we've built over the years with Gage Brothers and just the collaborative effort that there is. And I think that there is a lot more to come. There truly is. Sioux Falls is a dynamic place. South Dakota is a great place to be. We work well together and regionally. I think we have a huge impact on the built environment, both JLG and Gage Brothers, and that is celebrated. Gage Brothers won an award for being one of the champions of architecture in the state of South Dakota, and that's a testament to them and their commitment to our industry, and we just have to celebrate, when those efforts are recognized and how that impacts the built environment for everyone. So I just appreciate the relationship and the ability to work closely with Gage Brothers and have that impact on the built environment.
Well said.
I guess the only thing that I would say here, Tom and Dave, is that I'd like to wrap this up with the understanding I'm absolutely intrigued to hear more about these projects that you have going. And hopefully we'll be able to put some more of these podcasts together. Tom, Dave, thank you very much for your time this morning.